this meeting of the Duncanville Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We will now take action from closed session. Do I have a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for Director of Accounting?
So moved.
Second.
Phil made the motion and Cassandra seconded. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-0.
So at this time, we would like to introduce our new Director of Accounting. I'm going to ask Ms. Alexis McClendon to come up and introduce Ms. Lisa Miranda.
Good evening, President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you our new Director of Accounting, our very own Lisa Miranda. Ms. Miranda has served as an accountant right here in Duncanville ISD for 3 years. Prior to joining the Duncanville ISD family, she was an accountant for 20 years for companies such as Marlin Atlantis Group and Joann Stores. Ms. Miranda obtained her bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Maryland in 1997. She is grateful for the opportunity to grow and serve in the new capacity as Director of Accounting, and her son Mitchell is here to support her tonight. Please join me in welcoming Lisa Miranda.
It is now time for the opening ceremony. Students from Central Elementary will lead us in the pledges.
No, you forgot the prayer.
Oh.
We can just let Tom pray. Oh, whoever.
Tom's got to
Phil's praying.
Good evening. Happy holidays, trustees, President McNeely, Dr. Smith. I'm very proud to present to you some of Central's youngest learners. Most of these boys and girls are kindergartners in Mrs. Darlene Taylor's classroom, and we also have with us one of our best third graders. So they are here today to lead us in the pledges.
Everyone, please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Place the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. And while they shake your hands, let me please read their names to you. These students are Bowden Cox, Vanessa Iglesias, Savannah Iglesias, Michael Iglesias, Brian Kloss, Savannah Metcalf, Sophia Dunnicky, Christian Dyer, and Mrs. Taylor. Thank you again for the opportunity, and I'd like to thank our parents who came tonight as well.
I was so excited to do the pledge with Central that I forgot to do the most important thing. Could you all please bow your head as we say a prayer? Thank you.
Join me in prayer, please. Dear God, we just want to lift these people up to you tonight, the staff, the teachers, and the kids, and be with these kids that were here tonight, and just always bless them and encourage them to do the best that they can. Dear God, I ask you to be with us as board members as we make decisions to run this district and to control this district and to make sure we make decisions that are always in the best interest of the children we serve. Dear God, we ask you to bless us this time of the year during this Christmas season, for you are the reason for this season. We ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. We're now ready for recognitions. Ms. Richard?
Good evening, President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. As always, it is an honor and a privilege to be able to stand before you and recognize some of the greatest people we have here in the district. These are students, teachers, and staff who are recognized by our very own. So I'll go ahead and get started. First, we have a woman who you've already seen here tonight, Miss Darlene Taylor from Central Elementary, our Teacher of the Month. So we have some of Miss Taylor's biggest fans here also. Miss Taylor is an exceptional kindergarten teacher who goes above and beyond for the success of her students and the success of the campus. She is generally in the building hours before sunrise, making sure her learning environment is ready for her students. I think we were talking about how long today was. You started about 4:30 this morning? Yes, so she's an early riser. But she's an early riser. She makes sure things are gone and her classroom is ready and prepared. So this is a long day. We thank you for this. She's been a campus leader in our efforts to create family engagement opportunities along with the committee she leads. Ms. Taylor has also been instrumental in coordinating home visits, International Food Night, and African American Heritage celebrations. And once you see the video and how she interacts with her kids and how much they love being in her classroom, I think you'll get a really great idea of the sort of teacher she is. We're thankful to have her in the district and really appreciative and think that you will be our Made with Pride in Duncanville Teacher of the Month. Thank you, ma'am. Up next, we have our Student of the Month, Mr. Eddie Munoz. All right, Eddie, aside from having one of the biggest smiles ever, Eddie is a 4th grader at Hastings Elementary School, and he was actually nominated by Hastings Assistant Principal, Ms. Rachel Hicks. Eddie is actually a transfer here to the district. He came midway through the year, leaving Florida after a hurricane. So his family is here in the audience, and they've been super supportive and just thankful to have him here. Since his arrival, Eddie has been described as a ray of sunshine in his class. There is no one he will not talk to or help out. In their classroom specifically, they work in partners. And Eddie was partnered with a student in his classroom who had special needs. He never once balked at that responsibility, making sure that he could help her. He's embraced her special needs with any assistance she has, and he's also learned from her, he said. He's caring, kind to all of his classmates, and he makes sure that his partner and other students understand and are ready to take on whatever task before them. You have a really kind heart and a big smile, and just getting to know you throughout this process has been a pleasure, so thank you for all you do, Eddie. Our Made with Pride in Duncanville Student of the Month, Eddie Munoz. Last but not least, we have our Staff Made with Pride Staff of the Month, and that is Miss Brenda Webb. So Brenda works here in the plaza. She's an executive secretary for the Curriculum Instruction Department. She was actually nominated by the Director of Innovation, Dr. Crystal Rentz. Brenda is an absolute team player. She's always willing to assist in any way she can. She is proactive and detail-oriented. The reason so many of our meetings and our principals and our staff come to the plaza to participate in, the reason they go so well is because of the work this woman does. She, behind the scenes, makes sure everything is set up as it should be, and then once the meeting is over, things have ended for the day, she's closing things out, making sure everything ran as it should. She's one of those people who you don't necessarily see, but just does all the behind-the-scenes work to really make things happen. And not only that, she just has the kindest heart. She reaches out and supports people in any way she can. She has a kind word for just about everybody. I can personally speak to that. She always has a kind word. On the rare occasion when Brenda actually doesn't have the answer, when she doesn't know the answer to how to fix your issue or problem, she will work with you to find the appropriate person to help you, and 9 times out of 10 is still going the extra mile even in that process. Brenda has an amazing attitude, a huge heart, and she exhibits all aspects of the PAC, Dr. Smith's charge to us about professionalism, accountability, and communication. She exhibits that on a daily basis. If you're having a difficult day or you're frustrated, just call Brenda. She'll take care of you. So I'm honored to recognize you as our Made with Pride in Duncanville Staff of the Month, Ms. Brenda Webb. And while our Made with Pride in Duncanville honorees take photos, we actually have a video that our communication staff put together demonstrating how great these individuals are.
Duncanville ISD congratulates the following student, staff member, and teacher who were made with pride in Duncanville.
Oh, Edith? Yeah. So the teacher told me to work with her, and when I worked with her, like for 5 days, I got along with her. So sometimes I make her stuff at my house. I made her a boat, and I learned from her, and she learns from me.
I'm committed. I love this district. I love the people we work with. I've been this is my 28th year, and I couldn't have ever dreamed of working with a better group of people. This entire district, we're all supportive of one another. We all lift each other up when we need it. It's the people.
Good scientist. I like how you're following directions. Now you're gonna take it like this and hold it high.
I just take a lot of time to prep, and I like to get here when it's quiet. And I also like to just take my time pulling stuff together for my students and really diving in and seeing how I can meet their individual needs.
These honorees truly are made with pride in Duncanville.
And board and audience, before I turn it back over to the board, I wanted to ask all of the attendees, family and friends and other staff members who are here to please stand in the audience. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richard. We will now move into the superintendent's report. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, Madam President and board members and staff. Truly an honor to serve here in Duncanville. You see part of the reason why we have such great people to work with. I have just a few items on the superintendent's report tonight. I want to begin with the limited open enrollment counts. As we're at the end of the first semester. I wanted to give the board a report on what the data is showing with our limited open enrollment counts. This chart is just an indicator of what we're looking at across the district. You'll notice we have each campus listed, and we have the number of students that are currently enrolled, that have withdrawn, and those students that have moved to the school district. And so you'll see there that Duncanville High School has the majority of the students that have come from outside the district with 167. And you'll see Reed is leading is second in the pack there with 31 students. And overall, we've got 255 students coming into the district through the limited open enrollment program. Also, just want to remind the board of the criteria. We have an established criteria that we look at, and each candidate is evaluated as they come into the district. And so we look at their academic progress and want to make sure that all their scores are appropriate, at least in all their core and non-core subjects. They've got a 75 or higher average. Also, we look at their attendance rate. It must be at 95% attendance rate. We also require that the students have passed all of their STAR exams, an Iowa test of basic skills or an equivalent assessment for elementary students. And we also don't accept students who have been involved in disciplinary situations, whether that be DAEP or expulsion, or who have a criminal record. And so we really vet our students very carefully, make sure that they meet our criteria in order to come into the district, and wanted to provide this update to you. So we are looking to continue to expand our limited enrollment process, especially as we move into the next semester and out years with choice programs and various academies that we offer throughout the district. And so that's the update on the limited enrollment counts. A few other items I wanted to update you on. Last week, I had an opportunity to tour Proximity Learning. We've been providing you updates on the Proximity Learning program. And so I had an opportunity, one of your fellow board members, Mr. Joe Veracruz, he joined me at the high school. We had an opportunity to go look at English classes and several chemistry classes. And it was a great time for us to engage with the students. We had a chance to see those students actually logging into the system, accessing their teachers, literally standing over them, just seeing from a student perspective what the students are experiencing as they're getting direct instruction from the Proximity Learning teacher. We also had an opportunity to speak with the proctor or the aide that is leading the process for the students as they come in. And so very well organized. It was a very positive visit. And we'll continue to monitor Proximity Learning and provide updates to the board as that program continues to develop. I also had an opportunity to tour our all-day pre-K program at Acton Elementary. Obviously, that is one of our signature programs and academies that we've launched this year, and so it's important for me to get those opportunities to get out in the field and to see how things are going. And all of my visits are unannounced, so I get to see what's going on really out in the field. But had an opportunity to visit several classrooms. The students were engaged in learning activities, and one of the teachers reported to me that their learning endurance has improved over the semester. These are our youngest students, and so many of them haven't been accustomed to being in a learning environment such as an all-day pre-K all day. And so they are definitely seeing the benefit of that, and it's helping with their endurance and their ability to be in that environment and perform. And truly believe it's going to pay dividends for those students and for us as a district down the line. Also continued my small group community meetings. You may recall I reported to you I was at Byrd last month there at their PTA parent meeting and had an opportunity to visit with them, give a State of the District presentation, but also listen to their concerns and answer questions as well. And so last week I had an opportunity to do the same at Brandenburg Intermediate. So visited with the administrative team there and a lot of the support staff, visited with the PTA parents. We had a little over 150 parents show up. It was joined with a Christmas program, but the parents came for the PTA. They were very attentive into my presentation and updates. They didn't ask a whole lot of questions, but I was able to engage some of the parents and kind of break the ice and get them talking. And so it was a good opportunity for me to continue to establish rapport, to listen and learn from a parent perspective, things that I think are important for me to know, and just to be seen and visible in various segments of the district. And so that was a very, very good visit. The last item that I have, actually not the last item, second to the last item that I have, at the City of Duncanville tomorrow at their City Council meeting, they'll be presenting the recommendation from the school district to their City Council to change the name of Middale Road to Kathy Self-Morgan Way. And so that plan, I met last week with Kevin Hugman, who's the city manager, Melissa Cates, and I. Melissa Cates is going to represent us at the City Council meeting on tomorrow. But they'll be making a decision on whether to accept the recommendation to name what is currently Middale Road to Kathy Self-Morgan Way. And so we've had conversations with the Trinity Church of Nazarene, and they are in support of this. And as I stated moments ago, Kevin Hugman and the city are very supportive of this, and I think that's going to be, we'll let the process take its course, but I would be encouraged that will happen. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow. And then just the last item, Wednesday, of course, of this week is the last day of this semester. Our winter break starts December 21st through January 3rd. Staff returns to work on January 4th and 5th, and we'll be returning to professional development and training and getting ready to start the second semester. Students return on Monday, January 8th. We've had a very productive first semester, and in many areas across the board. And so we'll continue to regroup, fine-tune, and focus those things in those areas where we need to, and make the second semester just as productive than the first semester as we continue to stay focused and on our goals and the things that we've prioritized in the district. And so that concludes the superintendent's report this evening. We actually have the required hours. That's a part of that.
As required by law, all board members have to go through, have to complete continuing education hours. So we are lifelong learners forever. And so by law, I have to report, and I'm glad to report that all of our board members have met their requirements. So y'all bear with me because the law says I have to call out their hours. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to. So with that, with further ado, Renee McNeely has 24.25 hours. Janice Savage Martin had 9 hours. Carla Fahey had 11 and a half. Phil McNeely had 21. Tom Kennedy had a whopping 54 hours. Joe Veracruz had 39 and a half hours, and Cassandra Phillips had 25 hours. Questions? We will now move into the consent agenda.
Tell them how much we're required to have, so they'll know.
Oh, okay. We're required to have, as returning board members, 5 hours. And as new board members, I believe it's 10 hours, correct? I think 10 hours. So we are very diligent board members. Thank you, Mr. McNeely, for reminding me to tell them that we were good, okay? This is the consent agenda. All items may be acted upon at the time by the Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we move action item A and B to the consent agenda.
I second.
Mr. McNeely made the motion and Carla seconded. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-0. Now, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
Madam President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Tom made the motion and Phil seconded it. Are there any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-0. We will now move into the action agenda. Item C, Memorandum of Understanding with Mansfield for School Resource Officers. Melissa Cates.
Thank you, Madam President, board members, Dr. Smith. Tonight we have before you the Memorandum of Understanding with Mansfield ISD. And just as a quick overview, as you all will recall, Dallas County recently voted to shut down Dallas County Schools, and Dallas County Schools is currently providing our SRO services to the district. And in an effort to figure out what we were going to do in order to continue to have SROs at our schools, because we need student safety is of utmost importance to us, we tried to determine what we could do because DCS had originally said that they were going to keep the program going till June. However, we found out about a week and a half ago that they plan on shutting it down as of January. Luckily, Dr. Smith had been doing his due diligence and had been asking around, and we are beyond grateful to Mansfield ISD. Their superintendent has offered to step up and basically assume the contract for DCS through the end of June 30th, 2018. And tonight, in a minute, I'd like to introduce you to the Chief of Police there, but I just want to take a second to tell you what an amazing undertaking this is for Mansfield ISD. Sam Nix and I have been working hand in hand with Mansfield trying to figure out all the logistics to make it work in order to move all of our officers from DCS over to Mansfield. And there are a lot of steps that have to be taken. So we are so grateful to Mansfield for offering to step up. So this contract, the Memorandum of Understanding before you, it's going to take us through the end of June. So this is just a short-term fix. So Dr. Smith has been working on what the long-term solution is going to be for our district, how we're going to continue to provide SROs or police officers in our district, and we'll come back to you once we have a plan and present that to you. So right now, this agreement before you is to enter into with Mansfield, and they are going to take on our SROs as their employees, and we're just going to pay them just like we currently do with DCS. But I do want to take a second and introduce Chief Jimmy Womack from Mansfield ISD. And he's here, and if he wants to come up and just introduce himself, because Chief Womack has really gone above and beyond, and he's been giving hours and hours. I mean, everything from insurance, things that we hadn't really even thought about, insurance and equipment and all the other pieces that go along with this, that Mansfield's really stepping in. So I don't know if you'd like to say something or just introduce yourself, Chief. But
Good evening. Really, I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Chief Jimmy Womack. Dr. Smith and Dr. Vishauskas, I believe, have had conversations, and my goal is to do whatever I can to help y'all, and that's kind of the way we are. When it comes to it's all about the kids, and so if y'all have any questions or if I need to answer anything, I'm here.
Chief Womack, on behalf of our district, I want you to know how much we appreciate you all for stepping in and helping our district when we're in need and stuff, so that we can just kind of carry on as usual. I just want, and please tell your superintendent how appreciative we are of that.
I'll make sure he knows.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move to approve the MOU with Mansfield ISD for school resource officers.
Second.
Tom made the motion and Cassandra seconded. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes 5-0. We will now move into the information and discussion items. The first presenter is Dr. Bigby on the tax roll analysis.
Thank you. Board members, as you know, the district contracts with the Linebarger firm to collect delinquent taxes. Their members of the firm are here tonight to present to you an overview of what's taking place with their actions. Sandra Tate and Pamela Johnson are here, and they have a short presentation for you.
Good evening, Madam President and board members and Dr. Smith. My name is Pamela Johnson, and I am with the Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson, and I appreciate the opportunity to present to you tonight. For the last 41 years, Linebarger has partnered with school district in collecting delinquent taxes, the much-needed delinquent taxes, in order to provide the services that you provide to your students and your families in Duncanville. And as your partner, we like to be good corporate citizens. And in doing so, we support your education foundations and your chambers of commerce. Just an idea of the services that we provide for you. Each April and July, we get your new delinquent tax roll every year. We take the time to analyze your tax roll, and we begin by identifying all of the protected accounts to make sure any accounts that are in bankruptcy or protected by some other exemption are protected. And from there, we begin to conduct a number of mailings. We do the address research on the accounts because, of course, if you can't contact the taxpayers, you cannot collect the delinquent amounts. We make outgoing phone calls, and we receive phone calls and talk to the taxpayers in order to discuss a resolution of their accounts. We negotiate payment arrangements if necessary, and we also target accounts that remain delinquent for legal action. At this time, I will turn it over to Sandra Tay to give you an idea of your most recent turnover.
As you can see by this chart, we received slightly less turned over to us this year than last year. Almost the same, just a little bit under 4% less. So that means we have a little bit less to work with, but it means you probably got your tax dollars a little bit sooner because more people paid on time. This shows you by account and by dollar amounts. So if you look at the green box on the end, 126 accounts total 62% of your dollar amounts. And we start high dollar and work down to try to give you as much money as quickly as possible. And in doing so, we collected $1,457,000 since July 2016 to September 17. And we did that by sending out collection notices and doing site visits, which I personally go out and talk to your business owners and some of your commercial property owners, and I answer their questions, discuss things with them, put them on a payment arrangement if necessary. And if all that fails, then on your business personal property accounts, we can do seizures or bank warrants, and on your real property accounts, we would file a lawsuit, and then if that still is not successful, we would take the property to sheriff's sale. And all of this is cost-free to the district. It's an add-on fee. Our fees are added on to the tax roll to the delinquent taxpayers only. They're the only ones who have to pay that, so it's cost-free to the district. And here are the people that you can contact if you have any questions. Do you have any questions?
I just have a comment. I want to tell you how much our district appreciates you sponsoring organizations and activities, our events throughout the year. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is our strategic goal number 2. Dr. Hernandez.
Good evening, President McNeely, Dr. Smith, and board members. This evening, I'd like to continue my conversation with you about our strategic goals. This evening, we're going to talk about strategic goal number 2, which is the focus on student, families, and community. This evening, you're going to hear about objective 1, which is families having multiple opportunities to participate in their child's education. And that will consist of learning about our family and community engagement team. You will also find out about our faculty resource or family resource centers that we have throughout the district. I'll also speak to you this evening about workshops and events that are located throughout the campus, throughout the year, throughout the district. We also want to speak to you about how we communicate and collaborate with the families and members of our greater Duncanville ISD community. We're also going to talk to you about how we are educating and building the capacity of our families. As we all know, students are successful as much as we educate the parents, and that's an important component to us in the school district. The second thing you're going to hear about is objective 2, and offering opportunities for our students to participate in co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So we'll have examples of the different activities that exist in the district and the number of students that participate in those groups. So we'll start the conversation with introducing you to the Family and Community Engagement Team. As you can see, we have family engagement liaisons throughout the district. We'd like for you to see the pictures of our individuals and see the campuses that they serve. Of course, all of our individuals are serving and supporting each of the campuses listed here, and they work as a part of the team with Ms. Cheval Amelbert, which is our Family Engagement Coordinators. If you recall, earlier in the year when we brought to you the budget, our Title I budget, we did specify that we would be using some of that funding for our Family and Community Engagement specialists that work throughout the district. The Family Resource Centers. So one of the things that we are working on avidly this year is really developing a Family Resource Center on every campus. The purpose being that we need to have a place for our parents to be able to volunteer. We have a lot of parents that volunteer throughout our district, so we want to make sure that they have a space that's carved out for them where they can go in, provide any type of help that the school principal or teachers need, and they have a place where they can call home. We host workshops in these environments, and you see some of the examples and pictures there. And then, of course, we have access for our parents to resources and, of course, other academic needs that they may have, as well as access to technology. We know some of our parents are still struggling with that, so we want to make sure that we have that throughout the district. Workshops and events. So for workshops and events, to date, we've had 57 family engagement events throughout the school district. We've had almost 3,000 parents participate in those events. And we do make sure that we keep things like agendas, sign-in sheets, of course, surveys that we use with our parents to make sure that we're providing the resources that they need. I won't read to you the list there, but those are just some examples of items that parents have told us that they need and that we speak about through our FACES committee. That's our Family and Community Engagement Steering Committee. And they give us ideas on what we should develop and what they're hearing from parents in terms of what activities and workshops they need. So this is a list, and then, of course, we wanted to provide you with some pictures of that. In January, I can tell you one of our exciting activities that we're going to be bringing is that we're going to be bringing GED and ESL classes. DCCD is providing that service throughout the district, so we'll be providing that in January, starting in January for our parents throughout the district. So communication and collaboration. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're engaging our parents using all of our different platforms that we have available. Of course, we have a Facebook page, we use our Twitter accounts, and then of course we use hard copy media, whether it's flyers or sometimes it's getting out there and just shaking hands and making sure that we're engaging with parents. I know when I've been out, I can think of specifically over at Merrifield, I've seen our liaison out there when parents are driving up, engaging parents, talking to parents, answering any questions that they might have. But what you see here are just some of the different means that we use to communicate with our parents to make sure that we're actually serving their needs and that we're hearing from the community, again, in terms of what they need to be educated on or they want to see in our meetings. So we talked earlier about capacity building. The examples you see here are some of the items that we use to continue to work with our parents. We use the Ready Rosie system, which is an early childhood parent curriculum that we use with our parents. We use practical parent education curriculum also. On a personal note, the Ready Rosie I think is real important because as we've made a huge investment as a district on our early childhood programs, this is the opportunity that we have to establish an early relationship with the parents. So getting the parents into our workshops, getting them into our parent resource centers establishes that early relationship with that family, especially for our folks that are just starting with the education of their kids. Of course, we have all pro dads also throughout the district, and you've seen them in our board meetings before. They're very active out in the district, and they've been at our games and different things like that. So the objective, too, is about co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So what you have here is a list of the items that or the activities that we have at the elementary, intermediate, and middle school campuses. To date, we've had over 1,100 students participate in those programs. Obviously, I'm not going to read the entire list to you, but those are just examples of some of the programs that we have throughout the district. Obviously, part of engaging our students academically is also engaging them in terms of their social needs. And our kids always need to feel part of the campus. So it's important, and we spend a lot of time in developing these things and also actually getting the communication out to our kiddos. So this is really important. The second part is the activities that we have at the middle and the high school campus. We have over 1,700 kids participating in our arts programs. Those are important. I know myself as a kid growing up, I was an art kid, I was a band kid. Sometimes that's the thing that wakes you up in the morning to come to school. And so these are the things that are important, and we have to make sure that we continue to develop with our kids and their families. Over 1,200 kids in our athletic programs, 385 kids participating in the various activities through CT in terms of clubs and things of that nature. And then we also have foreign language kids that are participating in those type of programs. And again, we're trying to develop as many things that we can because every kid needs to feel part of the campus. Whether you're in academic, athletics, social, whatever it is, we want to make sure we're engaging you. The research shows that our kids are more likely to graduate or move on to colleges when they feel part of our greater community. So again, this is strategic goal number 2. I'm open for any questions that you may have.
I just have a comment. I just want to say it's great with what, I feel like with what we're doing, and back to the parent centers and the elementary and getting parents engaged. I can remember when I was a counselor, I had a parent one time say to me, y'all want us to come up and be involved, but sometimes you ask us to come up and we don't know the answer. And they don't, the best thing that we could do is build relationships where they feel safe. The parents do, and then they will be more involved. And of course, extracurricular, it's great.
Yeah, these are all important tools. Yes, ma'am.
The time that we did have to have parent centers, and I remember at Daniel, they took a custodian closet and made it to a parent center, but every campus had a parent center, and it was a place they could work on, you know, cutouts for bulletin boards or whatever. And pardon me? Oh. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the next item is mine, so I'll just stay up here.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the Texas Academic Performance Report. Dr. Hernandez, again.
So Ms. Stephanie Bono, our Director of Assessment and Accountability, will be joining us to conduct this presentation. Ms. Bono.
Good evening, President McNeely, Dr. Smith, and Board of Trustees. I'm here tonight to present the annual report, or the Texas Academic Performance Report that's required by the state every year. Please keep in mind as we go through that all of this information is based on last year's data, and some of the financial information and the college readiness information is actually based on the 15-16 school year. So I'll try and be clear when I'm shifting time periods. So the requirements for the annual report have 6 parts. The first is the Texas Academic Performance Report, or the TAPER report. That deals with our academic information and our demographic information. The campus performance objectives, which is posted on each school's webpage through their CIP, which we learned about last month at the board meeting. The student performance in post-secondary institutions we'll speak about briefly. That's where our students go on to after they leave Duncanville High School. Our PEIMS Financial Standard Report is one of those reports that comes actually from the 15-16 school year. The report of violent or criminal incidents, and the 2016-17 accreditation status. So once we've gone through this presentation, it will be posted for public viewing within 10 days. Just as a reminder, in the 2017 school year, Duncanville ISD and all 17 campuses met the state standard. So our 16 traditional campuses all met standard. Pace met the alternative standard, and then Summit, because of it's what we do at Summit is not rated. For distinctions, just a second. I'm losing my papers. My apologies. For distinctions, we had 9 campuses that received a total of 14 distinctions. So some things to note, that we had 3 math distinctions in our elementary campuses, which is indicative of a positive program change. Our students and teachers are excelling in their teaching and learning in math at our elementary campuses. And if you look at our intermediate and middle campuses, we have 3 distinctions in closing achievement gaps, which shows that our students that are in our subpopulations are also excelling. This slide shows you our data based on our TAPER report. So this is our 16-17 STAR data. You have 3 bars there for each test. The light blue bar is the approaches, so those are students that pass the test. The gray is are the students that met the standard, so it's a higher bar to meet. And then the masters are students who are beyond grade level. So some things to point out here. In reading, math, science, and social studies, we went up in our meets and masters. That's a huge accomplishment. Shows that the students are learning at a deeper level in our classrooms across the district and across grade levels. Our campus performance objectives. The campus improvement plans are written by a committee on campus and are specific to the campus's needs. During the last board meeting, we had our principals come in and present to you all the process for that and how it looks at elementary, intermediate, middle, and high school campuses. They're posted on each campus's website and are monitored throughout the year to check for progress and achievement of their goals. The campus improvement plans are written in a way to align with Duncanville's expectations. The Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board tracks our students when they leave our high schools to see how many of them enroll in a 2-year college and how many enroll in a 4-year university. So when you look at 2015, which is the blue bar, in comparison to 2016, you'll see that the numbers reflect a 5% increase in enrollment in 4-year universities and a decrease of 4% of enrollment in 2-year colleges. So overall, we have an increase of 1%, but it does show that we have more students that are committing to 4-year universities instead of going to the community college first. The PEAMS Financial Standard Report is posted on the TEA website. This is one of the reports that's based on the data from 2 years ago. So it's based on the 15-16 actual financial data for the district. That includes receipts, fund balances, disbursements, program expenditures, tax rates, 2014 tax year state certified property values, and unassigned fund balances. The report in its entirety is available to be viewed online. Our accreditation status, the first rating, which is based on our financial status, is an A, which is superior. The accountability rating is met standard. Those two together allow us to be accredited, so our accreditation status is accredited. Our violent and criminal incidents are measured every year. Duncanville is proactive in finding ways to lower our numbers of violent and criminal incidents on campuses. So you can see that when you compare the 2015-16 to 2016-17 school years. Some of the initiatives that we have in place on campuses to help with this include PBIS, which is a positive behavior and intervention support system, CHAMPS, which is a positive interaction in classroom management program, Why Try, which is social skills and guidance lessons, and Early Act First Night, which is through the Duncanville Rotary Club and is at selected campuses. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last item on the agenda is the first reading of the Texas Association of School Boards Localized Policy Update 109. Mr. Kreisberg.
Okay. Good evening, President McNeely, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. Bringing to you is the results of the most recent 85th legislative session that occurred this summer. This occurs every 2 years, and resulting from that is a number of policy updates. There are in total 109 legal policy updates to reflect changes made by the legislative session, and then there are 17 local policy updates. Provided for you in your packet are the explanatory notes, the instruction sheet listing all the affected policies, and the vantage points, which is a board member's guide to the update 109, and in turn the local policy comparison packet. It compares the updated local policies to our current local policies, or those 17 individual policies that are being modified or changed or adapted to a degree. So this is first reading, just for your information. I will be coming back to you next month for a final reading and your acceptance and approval of these policy changes. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Kreisberg.
Any communications?
We do not have any communication from the citizens, being that there is no further items to discuss. This meeting is adjourned.